Okay, so hello and welcome back to another Unity tutorial. In this video we're going to be doing part 13 of the RPG Systems tutorial series. I know it's been a while since the last one, but since then I've obviously done another little mini series in between, and I went on holiday for a week, and then there was a game jam, so it's all been busy, but we'll get back to the series now. We'll still be weaving other stuff in between the series, such as the Photon mini series I'm doing at the moment, but don't worry, this series is going to keep coming. And this is going to be the video where we hopefully finish off and round everything up for the vendor system. So obviously we implemented the NPC system, and then we started making vendor stuff, and now you can, buy items and sell items. But it's still a bit iffy because there's a few bugs and some UI doesn't update and so on, and that's basically what we're going to do this video and get that all finished. But before we get into the video, I need to thank my patrons, so special thanks to Flow State Games, Average Morning, Art Farrell, Buddha Ray, Remy Baldwin, and Full Borm. If anyone else is able to help support the channel monetarily, the link to my Patreon will be down below. If not, there are also links down below to social media such as Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. If you could help by following me on all those, that would be greatly appreciated. Now let's get to the coding. Alright, because it's been a while, let's have a little recap of what we had. So we currently have nothing in our inventory, and then we can pick up from here, and now we have, free of health potions. So we go over to the NPC, we can trade with him, and he has 2 speed potions and 6 health potions. That's to buy. And then if I click sell, he has 3 health potions. So that it works. And then obviously, yeah, if I want to sell my 3 health potions, I just drag it up, press confirm. Now, one of the things that doesn't happen is the UI updating, but I know it works because I gained 3 gold from those health potions, and down here at the bottom right on the inventory, it says I've got 103 money. And if I go back onto buying and back to sell, it's gone, and it's been added to his inventory. So that works. But there's definitely some problems I could show you right now. So for example, health potions, if I drag that up to full, press confirm, my money goes down and I've got them. But if I keep pressing confirm, you notice my money's going down, I've gone to negative money, and then now I've got tons of health potions, all the ones I clicked on, which is obviously not what I want. And the way we're going to fix that obviously. And then we also need to fix the fact that one, we can go to negative money unless that's a mechanic in your game, but you'd have to do that yourself. And you can maybe go into there, I guess. We also want to hide the UI on the right when there's nothing there. I think, if I remember correctly from last time, if I sell, do that and go back, or select something and then go back. I can't remember what it was, but there is definitely a way to make the UI on the right stay there. Yeah, maybe not actually. Maybe we fix that. If that happens again, I'll try and fix it. But apparently that's not a problem. Anyway, let's get to the coding. Okay, so there's probably more efficient ways of updating the UI where we'll, after doing something, we'll just go to that one specific button and change whether it should be still there or not. But honestly, that would take more effort than it's worth right now. That's when we do a refactor in the future, we can fix that. To be honest, we already have this function here which sets everything up. It gets rid of all the buttons, works out, whose items are on what tab, and then we spawn in the buttons for them and so on. So to be honest, I'm just going to go ahead and do this one. This is probably the best. So we're going to just call this when we buy the items, essentially, or sell. We want to update this. The boolean we pass in for whether it's we're on first or second is down to whether we're on first or second right now. So I reckon we'll just call this function down here. So if I scroll down, under confirm, when we've done add buying and removing, we'll say set the item container, and it just needs a boolean because we've already set it there. If you get what I mean, we already store the scenario data. We just set the item container stuff. So rather than passing through true or false, we're going to pass through whatever it is right now. So if we go to scenario data dot, and then we've got a boolean here is first container buying. So if the first one's buying, we'll say first, and if the second one's buying, we'll say second. So that's it, to be honest. That should be good enough just to fix that. So let's press play and hope it works. So we'll go over to the box, we'll pick up the items, go over to him, and then, for example, sell our health potions, confirm, and it goes. Obviously, yeah, this is part of the thing. The UI here is still visible, and I mean, if I press confirm again, it's not actually doing the thing anymore, so that's good. That's a good thing. But we're going to still fix it properly anyway. And then back over here, I can buy 2 things, buy 9 things. We just need all the UI to go away. So the best way to get all the UI to go away is just to disable the parent of all this UI on the right. And I can't remember if we actually have a parent for that. I'll check in a second. If we do, we'll just disable it, and if we don't, we'll add it and then disable it. So let's get to that now. Okay, yeah, we don't have a parent of all the UI on the right, so we're going to make that now. Currently, it's just a parent in the background like everything else is, but we don't want the stuff on the left to be disabled when we disable the stuff on the right. we'll keep the scroll bar, the buttons, and this area for all the items, but the text, description, slider, all that stuff should go away. So let's get that done. Under the background, we want a empty game object, and we're gonna probably just scale it to full because the background is full. So let's scale that to the background, and we'll call it like current item data, or like selected item data. That'll do. And then we'll go put that below the scroll rect for items and below the buy and sell button. So all the stuff down here is what we want, apart from the scroll bar. So put the scroll bar above that too. Alright, let's select all these items and go put them as a child to the selected item data thing. And then we'll obviously need to reference that, and okay, TextMesh Pro being a bit weird. It does that sometimes. Wait, let me just save. There we go. Yeah, if TextMesh Pro ever messes up, just do file save and it should fix it. Usually does. And that should be it. So let's disable the canvas and go back to the script. On the quantity display, we can put it there. Actually, no, it's all to do with that. Yeah, let's put game object selected item data. I mean, if anything, I should probably put holder, because otherwise it's like a variable that's the data. This variable isn't the data at all, you know. So let's just go put like holder underscore selected item data. So wherever we want to disable and enable it, we can just set this game object to be enabled and disabled. On start, well, it's going to be enabled by default, but we should still enable it on start anyway, because imagine you've disabled it on your last encounter with an NPC, a vendor, then you go to the a new one, you want it to be there right away, unless, of course, there aren't actually any items, if you know what I mean. Like, what if they don't have anything for sale? Sorry, my voice is going. So the way I think we should do this is we enable it in set item, because then if there are no items, we won't call set item, and then that panel won't get activated. So we'll say holder dot set active true. So when we set an item, this goes true. Sorry if my voice is going a bit croaky. I guess I've been doing too much talking recently. And then now that we've enabled it in set item, we want to disable it whenever not whenever we sell an item. It's whenever we, I guess, sell an item fully. Because if we only sell part of an item, we want to keep it there. So over here on the confirm button, where we're doing, when we're swapping, we want to just make sure we're doing the full amount. If so, disable it. Okay, so here we have access to, you know, the value of the quantity slider, which is how many you're willing, or not willing, but how many you're wanting to sell. Yeah, yes, that's how many you've selected to buy or sell. And if we look up here, we can actually check on an item container. If I find it, we can get the total quantity of an item. So if we go grab the total quantity of an item and check it against the slider, then we can essentially say if it is or isn't the entire of the stack. So down here, we're just going to say if int quantity slider dot value, if we've sold the same amount as however many is left. So the amount that's left is the current item Okay, so this is the buying or selling. So we've got to know which one it is, because if we we always see, that's the problem. We've made it generic so that we always subtract money from the person who's buying, because they're getting an item, they're getting rid of their money, and then we always add to the selling person because they're always gaining money. But now we want to know specifically who we're using in this scenario, because that's the person we need to check whether to disable the panel. Because if you are on yourself and you're selling all of a stack, you want to get rid of it. And if you're on the other person that you're buying from and you've bought their entire stack, then you want to handle that accordingly. Now let me just think. this set item container, we call that even when we just change button, like where is it? We call this elsewhere. Do we not? I'm trying to think, what does the button do? I've like, it's been a while, okay? The button by set current item container. Oh no, so we are just calling that function with true or false. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. And we store in scenario data over here whether the first person's buying or not. So we want to say, I mean, we might just hard code it saying who's the current one being displayed. There must be a simple way to do this that I'm missing, so just bear with me one sec. Okay, yeah, so I missed something really obvious. It's always the person who's selling that is being displayed on the UI. Because if I click on the buy tab, it's the NPC who's selling, so it's all his selling stuff on there. And if I click on the sell tab, it's all my selling stuff on there. So it's always going to be the selling item container. Just like here, we always get the selling item containers items, essentially. So if we go down here, we just want to say, if it's equal to the scenario data dot selling item container, and then dot get or was it quantity, get total quantity, and then we pass in the inventory item, which is the current item. So if that's the same, right, if the slider value is the same as the max thing, keep in mind we should probably move this to be above here, because by this point we've already actually added and removed, but we'll move it in. Actually, we'll move it now so I don't forget. Don't want to have to do debugging and just forget that. So I guess we'll do it right here. It's not like it matters. We can do it right here once we've. You know what? We'll even do it right at the top. There's no reason not to. Just so we don't mess with anything else. We want to then say the panel or the holder dot set active false. So only if that's true do we set it to be inactive, essentially. So now we should be able to buy or sell a partial stack, and it should be fine. But as soon as we buy and sell a full, by stack I mean like the amount that we've got. So if I click trade, oh, we got an error, which is that I have not set the variable. That is a good reason to get an error. We'll go back to the UI thing and drag in reference to the holder, and then go back out the prefab and try again. So we go over to the item, go to the NPC, press let's trade. Here's our item, or their items and my items. Go on my items and drag that up to 2. It now goes down to 1. Obviously the quantity resets to 0 because, you know, if you've just sold it, you probably don't want to sell another one because you've just selected how many you want to sell. But then obviously I can drag out that, and as soon as I sell it fully, it goes away. And then same on buy, right? From 9, I can just, well, for 2, for example, I can just sell all 2. But for 9, I could go, I want 6 of them, or 5 of them, or whatever, right? 5 goes down to 4. But, okay, so we still, when we sell some of them, disable that part of the UI. That's one thing we want to not disable, because we've still got this item selected. You know, it shouldn't reset like that. Okay, what's going on there then? When we click the confirm button and we then set it to the first person buying up here. Wait, so yeah, that basically means here that we're setting it. That's what I just called earlier. We reset it. And then when we set an item, it does all this stuff. So ideally, we need to call set item again at some other point that we're not doing it. We need to call set item after we have bought. So I'm wondering why it worked. If you remember, it worked when it was on my end, like on my selling, it worked. But when it was on the vendor's selling, it didn't work. So let's just do that again to try and replicate it. So let's trade, sell. Let's sell 2. Stays up here, and that goes down to 1. But then on buy, if I go and sell like 5, oh no, it worked that time. That's weird. But that time it didn't. I'm guessing something's going wrong with the slider value and the max amount or something. So let's go back down here. Put a breakpoint. And we'll just see what's happening. If we can catch the error, that would be nice. Obviously, I'm showing you a bit of debugging here, so we know kind of where the problem's going on, and we hope we do. So let's go sell 4 of them. Alright, so the quality slider value is 4, and the other thing's 4, so step into. Let's just go back actually. Just go into that. So step over. We don't deactivate it because, yeah, we've not sold it all. That's fine. And then 1 is, yep, okay, so, and then we can do that there. Get total quantity, value 1, continue. On here, if I sell 1, the value is 1. That's 1. But it stayed up. Okay, so obviously, yeah, that didn't get called because it's still active, but for some reason, the UI went away. And the only place where we change the UI is when we call set item, and then so we set item container, and then there we call set item, get slot by index 0.item. Ah, well that might be the reason. For some weird reason. Oh, okay, no, I get it. So yeah, we originally set it to item 0. Now that's a problem. The reason we set it to the first item in their like list is because that when we first approach them and speak to them, we want it to be on item 0. The problem is if we just sold, you know, part of item 1 and then we set item for 0, it like why would you do that? You know, we need to have it stay the same item. So we don't want to set it to 0. We don't want to get slot 0 whenever yeah, that's the problem. We can do that on start, but also we want to do it when we change. Okay, this is a bit problematic. We want to do it when we change, but not when we. I mean, all we really need to do is just call set item. But that's going to be a problem too. I got an idea then. We'll set item when we stop the debugger. Let's just stop. So we're going to call set item 0 only when we start. But we have to call it after this, so let's put it there. So we set that item out of this. So we call this, it doesn't interfere with setting of an item. And then wherever else we want to set the item, we need to just do that ourselves and make sure we set the right item. Because we need to call set item to, you know, update all this. And we update all this whenever we set the item container. Which is quite annoying because I guess all we need to do for here is manually disable this whenever we change it. But then if we set item, we re-enable it. That's probably a good idea. So let's say selected item data dot set active false. So we disable it whenever we change, so that there's no current item selected, unless we specifically call set item. And then we want to call set item whenever we update. No, whenever we confirm, we want to set the item container, update all, and then we want to set back the item. Which item? Just the item that let's see here. The current item still exists if we haven't sold it all, so we should be able to just set that item there. Okay, let's go over here, and then go over here, trade, and then we want to sell 4. Okay, that's not actually sold it though. What if I try and sell all of it? Okay, so if I sell all of it, it works. Otherwise it doesn't. Oh, I know why. It's because, right? Let's say we do call set item because we haven't sold it all. Set item changes the quantity slider back to 0, which is obviously a problem. So we need to now put this logic after, just make sure it's the last thing we do before we do any adding and removing of items. That should be the final thing, actually. I can't foresee any more problems. Alright, 4. Yep, did 4. 2. 1. 1. 1. Actually, but then again, yeah, it should be staying up if we don't sell them all. Well, it doesn't have to, because obviously we've just done with the item, so that's kind of just up to you. Also, yeah, we should just return if we don't have enough money for it. Okay, if the scenario data dot buying item container, if whoever's buying money is less than the price, just return. You know, don't do anything. Let's just put that on one line. If we don't have enough money, we just don't do it. And that's it, I think. But yeah, the setting of item, that should just be updated if we only sell partial. But it's actually just disabling the thing on the right. And that's because we're calling this afterwards, which is obviously not good. We need to ideally call set item afterwards if that's the case. So let's just make a boolean. Bool, and we'll call it sold all. And we'll set it equal to this. And then put a semicolon. If I put enough brackets, there we go. And then we'll say if sold all, deactivate the selected item data holder thingy. Will that get set to true there? Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll call at the end, if not sold all, set item current item. And then we should be good to go with that. So we can just get rid of this. Put that on one line too. Save and go back to Unity. Obviously, guys, as always, if you want access to this code, it's on my GitHub page down below. Let me just fix this problem. I've got too many brackets or something. Yeah, but now we basically store whether we did sell it all or not, and then in those two separate places we act accordingly. So we can now hopefully sell it part of a stack and just have it update and then sell it all. Sell part of a stack, sell all, buy all, whatever. And then I guess the final thing to confirm on the buy tab is if I go to the player, wherever he is, player, if I make it now so that he has no money, and I try and buy these, nothing happens because I haven't got enough money. So that's everything working now. We're done with the vendor system, and in the future videos we can continue with either more NPC systems such as the quest system or the crafting system or whatever, that kind of stuff. We can continue with that, or we can start doing some actual like combat or like skills or something. It's up to you guys, so let me know down below exactly what you want me to continue with, and I'll look at the comments and come to a decision. Yeah, the next video for this series should be coming out next Monday, because this Friday I'm going to be doing a video on Photon, the multiplayer thing. If you guys haven't seen that, check out my last video. But yeah, if you like this video, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Check out my social media down below. Thanks for watching this entire video, and if you're here and you've watched all the other ones in this series, just thanks for sticking through the series. I'm glad you're enjoying it if you are. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.